Well, it's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. You know what time it is. It's time to start your week off right here on Play for Keeps, the show on Nerd Initiative. This week, because of the Snowmageddon, and I hope everybody's safe and warm and everything, I decided to have a little joke about my one all-time favorite figure of Arctic Batman and decided to go through and talk about the best Arctic or snow or ice toys. We'll get to that in a second. As always, welcome back, Nerd Initiative. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, the pop culture connoisseur. And of course, we've got so many things we're talking about right now this week. We've been talking about, Seven Kingdoms on HBO. We've got all the fantastic stuff with comic book reviews and everything. But first off, I don't have any personal news for myself because I didn't pick up anything else. But let's talk about things that I found in That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is not Walter Cronkite, but I'm going to do a really bad impression of it. That's right. We've got a few things to talk about in toy news. I think one of the big things that just happened this past week is we did finally get the first Masters of the Universe trailer. So that said, I've got two very different ends of the spectrum as far as Masters of the Universe collectibles are concerned. Let's start off with the collectible, and that is Mondo is going to be doing this fantastic new figure. I wouldn't necessarily call it a figure per se because this is more of a statue. And I think what's so interesting about this is that this is all going to be on one solid base. It will be somewhat posable. This is Man at Arms, obviously. If you know, you know. The fact that we've got all these interchangeable pieces and parts, we even have the Snake Men face is really cool. And for Mondo, we know that a lot of their figures usually run on the higher end. This one, last time I checked, is about $120, which you can pre-order on like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, wherever you like to. I actually love this. I think it's well within proportion. Obviously, He-Man proportions, but the fact that we've gotten 3 head swaps, we've got two blast effects, his mace / Warhammer in 2 different colors. I don't know why that is. I'm assuming it's probably to do with an old figure. And at least 1 set of hand swaps. I think this is great. He's got his blaster with standard weapon or with a blast effect. I think this is a great figure to get if you are a big Master of the Universe fan. Absolutely go and pick this one up. On the flip side, all right, I don't know who needs this. I think that maybe our editor-in-chief, Matt, might want to pick up one of these, but it's the Masters of the Universe Inflatable Castle Grayskull. I don't know what to say, except I have the power to buy that. Shut up and take my money. I think this is very unique. I think if you really want to, deck your house out for, say, Halloween, or you're doing a haunted house, or if you're just a grown kidult, absolutely, this would be fantastic something to put in your collection. I know my buddy Greg does amazing Halloween decorations out where he lives. So maybe this would fit his house perfectly. I will definitely send this along to him. Lastly, another big thing that we saw, I am following up on the Lego theme, believe it or not. We do have a new helmet coming out. It's not Star Wars. It's not Power Rangers. It's not Batman. It's not, I don't know, what are some other franchises they've done helmets on? Marvel. No, it is Sauron. That's right, from the Lord of the Rings, the Sauron helmet. I mean, this looks impressive. I have my Mando helmet sitting up here. That took me, once you started getting the flow, once you did half the face, you kind of figured out how to do the rest. But this is massive. Also comes with his minifigure too, which I think this might be one of the first figures that comes with his additional minifigure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, for a figure like this, if you are a big Lord of the Rings fan, I would definitely go out and pick up one of these. I might just get it just because it's so cool and unique. One big thing I usually like when it comes to Lego is getting those particular types of figures that have a unique figure or a unique piece in it, like the Bowser that just got retired this past year. His spikes, those were a very particular piece that they made specifically for Lego. But yeah, so getting back to what we're talking about tonight. because it was Snowmageddon, and because, you know, if you've been following along over the past year, whether it was me and Mickey, we always keep talking about all these variant figures. And because it's been happening, or whatever you're calling it, again, we hope you're safe wherever you are. What inspired me was, well, let's talk Arctic figures. Now, here's the rules, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, these figures are going to be just Arctic or snow themed figures. So if the character or if the power set, if it's any powers, are snow or ice based themes, not happening. So obviously we are going to talk about Arctic Blast Batman or Polar Blast Batman, all the bats that go along with it. But I picked out 5 particular franchises in particular that have done ice or snow themes that really stuck the landing. So without further ado, let's start off with 2002's Lego set called Ice Planet. I very fondly remember this set simply for the fact that I did have a few of these. Actually, if you go back and check out our thumbnail, once this episode's over, on the thumbnail is the one Rover figure that I did have. And then you can't see me move my mouse around, but I'm going to point that one of those ski sled thingies I had as well. I believe it was the 2 all the way over on the 9 o'clock side. Did anybody have any of these? I think this was the first time we got the chainsaw piece in the neon orange. We've got the skis in the neon orange. We got whole new helmets as well and visors to go along with it. This was also, I believe, one of the first Lego sets to have a variation on the classic space theme logo. If you take a look just above me over here, you're going to see that is the Ice Planet 2002. Now, they have remade this line. They have done a few retro or kickback figures. Yes, as Daniel says, this is a very chilly episode. Yes, it is, Daniel. I hope you're chilling wherever you are, nice and warm with your comfy socks on. I forgot to put mine on because if you guys don't know, my studio is down in my basement, so it's a little chilly down here. It's like 64, I think the thermostat says. Anyhow, going back to Ice Planet, what's very interesting is if you guys take a look right in the dead center of this whole set, the castle right there, or the space base, or whatever you want to call it. What's interesting is that is a very famous base piece that comes from the original Lego Castle series. What's so funny is that if you try to find the Lego Castle version, of which I had that the resale on that is somewhere between 60 to 70, sometimes even up to $80. The Ice Planet, same exact mold, different paint job, sells for almost 3 times as less. I've been able to find them online for about $20 to $30. If I went and picked and got my 46 gallons of Lego that I have sitting in my storage unit here at home, I probably could find several pieces of this set because I still have figures from when I was a little dude. And it's just, this was such a great one because it felt very old school. It felt very space theme. If you're an old school space, you know, Benny Space type of person, or if you wanted to get those different colors because that nice, deep, rich blue or that hot orange, like it really, really was a fun set. And they went through the whole gambit between the price lines, you know, that you had your smaller, you know, Rovers and the ski sleds that were, you know, $8-10, and then they went all the way up to what you would expect for larger pieces. In fact, the large spaceship, if I remember, was a modular piece that could disconnect into 3 or 4 different ships on its own. Did any of you guys have this? Let me know in the comments below. Now, up next, let's talk about our next franchise that had, you know, chilled out a little bit. G.I. Joe. Specifically, I wanted to talk about Storm Shadow. Now, I know we've got the Ice Troopers, we got Snow Job, we got Frostbite. Again, they don't necessarily fall in the idea of ice or ice theming characters. So again, I wanted to go specifically with Storm Shadow, how they screwed it up before and how they fixed it later. Back in 2009, Hasbro/Kenner did the Rise of Cobra with the movie version of Storm Shadow, and he's just all sorts of jacked up. He's all sliced up, And he doesn't come with a shirt or anything, but this is his Arctic Assault version. And I remember this figure so clearly that I had to throw this on here. Then in the time in 2020 in the G.I. Joe Classified series, of which I am sorely annoyed that I never started on this, now how much I'm enjoying what Skybound has been doing. This figure is just stunning. They went the full board, and we gave him armor, we gave him leggings. And one other really cool thing that I appreciate about this is that if you look on his chest piece, you'll see that they still have the symbol of the Ashrakage. And if I said that right, excuse me. If there's any G.I. Joe super fans out there, I apologize. That they got this right. With the hood, with the mask, with the thermals, it just makes sense. Now, did anybody have these particular figures? Are there any other figures in the G.I. Joe line that you particularly wanted that might have an ice theme? Then again, not Snow Job or any of those other guys. But let me know. So jumping on next, staying in the house of Hasbro, because Hasbro till all are one. We've got up next Arctic Optimus Prime. Now, this was during the Robots in Disguise era. So this is around 2013, 2014. This was season 2. Now, if you take a look, I did this in slide in 2 bits. I have the Optimus figure, but also I have to the side all the characters that were in that particular episode. What I love the fact is that in about season 2, they started going on missions around Earth, and with that, they would camouflage themselves. So, you have Strong Arm, you have Bumblebee, you've got Drift and Sideswipe up there, all done up in their Arctic suits. Another great thing is that in another episode, they went all brown because they were out in the desert. I love how Grimlock can't change. If you see that flick of green back there, that was him. But at the same time, Optimus was not in this episode. So hence Bumblebee going, you weren't in this episode, Big Bot. But the fact that they decided to make a figure, why? Because one, it's Optimus Prime. We all know Optimus Prime figures are always going to sell. Right, Mickey? Right, Mickey? And two, the fact of going with the theme of having like an Arctic Optimus. I know probably at some point we've had Optimuses that have been Ecto-1. We've had jungle-themed Optimus. I have him out on my shelf. There have been so many other, figures that have gotten this Arctic treatment. Why not, of course, throw it on Optimus Prime? Because it's Optimus Prime. And two, why develop another figure? Why retool something when you can just repaint something? Now, coming up next, it's really quick. It's so cold outside. You might have been a Star Wars nerd and you might have thought about this. We've got Star Wars, everything on Hoth, obviously. We got Princess Leia. Now, this is in the vintage line. Now, Luke and Han, those are in the Black series. And I also wanted to give a shout out here to the Lego Star Wars, because they could have done an AT-AT anywhere. But the most famous scene, obviously, for the AT-AT was the battle on Hoth. And with that, it also comes with little snowtroopers if you take a look down in the bottom corner there. Now, speaking of snowtroopers, while I was doing my research for tonight, I did find that out of all Star Wars figures, there have only ever been 3 snowtroopers done in the Black Series 6-inch scale. And we have them right here. Oddly enough, it was only ever been the original snowtrooper, and then we got 2 holiday variants. We got the Snowman version and the other holiday version. Interestingly enough, they use the same exact boots or leggings for the boots in both sets. It's the same mold, just painted differently. And I just love the fact that it's like, okay, who is going to army build snowtroopers? I'm not going to army build snowtroopers, but how can we make use of this mold? Well, how many more ways can we do it over and over and over again? So the holiday ones are really fun, great idea. Now, interestingly enough, as I was doing this episode, I came to find out that snowtroopers have only been done in the 6-inch line. Only, again, those 3 particular figures. When you're talking about the original Kenner 3 3/4-inch figures, there are over 30 different snowtrooper releases. Now, what I mean by release is the fact that it's been Target, it's been Walmart, it's been this exclusive, that exclusive. There have been all sorts of different ways that you've been able to procure one. The molds are relatively the same. The decorations, pretty much, the paint molds are pretty much the same. But the fact there's been over 30 of them in 40 years of Star Wars really impresses me. But there's only ever been 3-inch figures. Mind-boggling. Now, getting back to it, the original reason we did this episode tonight is simply for the fact that we got to talk about the one variant. You know me, I'm always going to soapbox about this. Do not give me a variant for any other reason than the fact that we can make money on it. I know, that's what I'm talking about. If you take a look, yeah, sometimes a chase and whatnot, that's one thing. But if you're going to make a figure, make the figure make sense. And with that, we are talking about every single that I could find iteration of the Great Big Bat. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Arctic Batman. Starting up here, we've got the Imaginext version. Next to him, going clockwise, we have Polar Batman from 1991. I believe that was Batman Returns. Let me just double check. Yep, that was Batman Returns, Polar Blast Batman from Kenner. After that, then we've got which Batman is that? There's so many of them. I'm not kidding. Like, I was looking up all of them going, where's Batman? Instead of where's Martha? Polar Blast Batman. The next one is Arctic Armor Batman. And then we've got another Arctic Batman from the Batman Unlimited run. If you remember those cartoons. So it was done in a more kid-friendly style, not as heavy as, say, like TAS. After that, it was Never Ending Winter Batman from McFarlane with the big, huge black coat. Even Batfleck himself got in on this. Why we needed a Arctic Batman from Batfleck, no idea. But you know that is just a repaint of the Nightmare Dream Sequence Batman when he was out in the desert. And then all the way over here, just underneath the Imaginext, is the original Batman of Arctic Batman circa 19... Got the numbers right here. 1991. Arctic Batman. 1988, I think it was. Batman. Darn it. Lost my notes. Sorry about that. This is why we do it live. The original Arctic Batman was... No, I don't want the Lego Batman version of it. I want the original version of it. Oh, so yeah, the one all the way up in the far corner, that is the DC Comics Missions Batman Arctic Armor. Go figure. So many. So Polar Armor Batman. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. Yep. So vintage original one was 1990. Excuse me. I thought it was 1998. But yeah, the original Arctic Batman that had nothing to do with Mr. Freeze, nothing to do with Captain Cold, nothing to do with ice, nothing to do with anything except for the fact of, hey, let's throw a variant out there of Batman that is completely unneeded. That's where we get the 1990 Arctic Batman. Again, we've also had, if you look on the thumbnail, I have the Lego version hiding on the thumbnail. The first time we actually got to see an Arctic Batman was in the Batman cartoon series. That's why I have him on here. And of course, I couldn't forget to add a little bit of Mr. Freeze in here, even though none of these figures have anything to do with Mr. Freeze. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the one thing I want to get at. Have the figure make sense. Now, are there any particular figures that you might personally have that, have this Arctic or snow theme? Going back to like Skylanders, I know we had a particular Imaginator called Ember that there was a company exclusive given out for a holiday called December Ember, which was done as a snow theme. I know that Prison Break got a flocked version, again, a snow theme. And again, I'm pushing it here. But the fact that these characters had, like, Ember was a fire type character. Why would you give it a snow theme or a holiday theme? It is what it is. It's merchandising. So there's just a lot of fun things you can do out there. Again, I didn't want to count any types of translucers or just throwing it out there for the sake of, oh, well, this character had this power. I'm sorry, Bobby. I'm sorry, Ice. I'm sorry, Mr. Freeze. I'm sorry, Captain Cold. My bad, Leonard. We're not featuring you this week. If I get another cold snap and we get, another foot of snow, maybe I'll do the actual ice characters. But this is the one thing that I really want to get on the fact of. The one beautiful thing about action figures is, yes, we are going to get variants. And yes, we have all these things that we can find near and dear. I'm not knocking the fact that we have the Arctic versions. I'm not knocking them for the manufacturing purposes. I just love the fact that these are some of the fun ways that they can try and just get a little bit more out of the character. It's just like Stormtroopers and Clone Troopers, or because you can always repaint a character to look like something else. You take a Clone Trooper, you throw some green on it, you got Commander Gree. You throw some orange on it, you got Commander Cody, so on and so forth. It's just those little tiny things that change up the characters and gives you a different play style, or we throw in a few different accessories. And that's the real fun thing about it. But again, from here on out, whenever I talk about stupid variants for the sake of making a variant, I will always go back to Arctic Batman. Other than that, folks, we've got a lot of great content coming out this week. Don't forget, we've got our fantastic Fallout giveaway. Make sure you're following along on all of our socials. All you got to do is like and comment, and you get your chance to win your own Cooper Howard figure, which I have hidden over in my own personal Vault 101, ready to ship out to you. We've got everything else going on, the comic book reviews, the TV reviews. We're following along with everything. Also, if you don't know, and I have mentioned before, but I'll do it one more time, yours truly will be at New York Toy Fair this next month, and I'll be covering as much as I possibly can get to, because it is going to be a very wild week for me. It's also Valentine's week, so it's going to be fun in the city, but I will be out there reporting on everything that I can see that's coming up in the next year for toys, figures, collectibles, and everything else. And what's the way that you can follow along with everything that we're doing? Well, make sure that you're going to hit that subscribe button, ding the thing and let it ring, tap that bell for notifications, and then smack that thumbs up to let Michael, the GEO, know that I'm doing my job and I'm doing it well. As far as everything else is concerned, folks, I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Let us know what's the next topic you want us to cover. I've got a whole slew of them, but we always want to hear back from you, because that's how we do this here. It is the home of pop culture positivity, and we want to hear from you. So again, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, as a good friend of mine, be kind to yourself and be kind to others, and make sure that when you play for keeps. I'm out.